Welcome to This Explainer. If you're a European C-suite executive or a principal engineer, you've landed in exactly the right place. We're diving into a fundamentally superior architecture for enterprise AI knowledge management. It's time to ditch the friction and those awful recurring costs of corporate AI memory. Let's get right into it.
So let's kick things off with a pretty harsh truth. If your company's AI forgets literally everything the second the terminal closes, you're not just wasting time, you are bleeding capital. Think about it. Right now, most of these AI tools, they remember a chat, sure, but they don't actually build an asset. Every single time you ask a question, you're paying API fees just to reread your own data. The fix? Compiling your AI memory locally. We've got to shift from fetching data at query time to compiling knowledge the moment it arrives. Bottom line, stop runting your company's memory and finally start owning it.
Section 1. The Evaporating Knowledge Crisis.
And this brings us to the multi-million-euro question keeping CTOs up at night. Why does your AI forget everything? If you rely on standard retrieval augmented generation, or RAG systems, you already know the pain. Traditional RAG operates on this query time synthesis model. It chops up your documents, embeds them, and grabs little fragments when you ask a question. But the fatal flaw here is contextual amnesia. Every single interaction literally starts from zero. It's kind of like having a genius employee who experiences corporate Groundhog Day every time they log off. You ask a complex question about, say, project specs and employee records, it stitches an answer together just fine. But the second that session ends, that brilliant synthesis completely evaporates. Poof, gone.
So standard RAG pipelines essentially force your large language model to blindly rediscover relationships on every single query. That means your query costs go through the roof and you lose crucial context because of arbitrary vector chunking. Now compare that to the Agentic Vault. This gives you durable, stateful memory. Because it compiles the information exactly once and writes it directly to your local file system, you get zero retrieval noise. And absolutely crucial for anyone in the C-suite listening, €0 monthly API bloat. Zero.
Section 2. The compile-on-arrival paradigm.
So how do we actually fix this? Well, we have to look at the endless broken cycle of retrieve again versus the absolute elegance of compile once. This is a massive paradigm shift pioneered by Andrej Karpathy, and it totally inverts the operational model. Here's how it works in practice. An autonomous agent reads your raw source documents at ingest, explicitly pulls out the core concepts and any contradictions, and then permanently wires all of that into a durable markdown graph. The AI does the heavy lifting of thinking and synthesizing exactly once on arrival. From then on, future answers start from compiled knowledge, not a bunch of loose, scattered fragments.
Section 3. Enterprise Features and ROI.
All right, let's translate this architecture into pure executive ROI. By structuring the vault on Google's open knowledge format, which, by the way, is just plain Markdown and YAML, you guarantee absolutely zero vendor lock-in. You own your files forever, full stop. Next, by compiling at ingest, you wipe out redundant processing, which means eliminating that monthly API bloat we talked about. And for European founders, this is huge. By executing models locally on Apple Silicon using tools like Llama, you secure absolute GDPR compliance. Your sensitive employee data never actually leaves the physical hardware. On top of all that, strict layer separation guarantees an audit-ready chain of custody. The AI simply cannot corrupt your human truth.
Section 4. Architecture and Privacy Rules. Let's look under the hood at this multi-layered tech stack. What you'll immediately notice is what's missing. There is no proprietary knowledge store here, no complex vector database to wrestle with. The whole architecture is ruthlessly governed by a simple configuration file, like a claude.md file. That file forces the AI to act as a strict rule-following librarian. The agent reads the immutable, human-owned raw folder, and it compiles its synthesis solely into the wiki folder. The underlying substrate, just folders in Git. It is profoundly simple, which is exactly why it's so insanely robust.
Now, what about highly sensitive enterprise environments? We've got that covered with strict physical separation. You have the open vault, which is for general agent access, but then you have the sealed vault. This is a true air-gapped space. No Git syncing, no hosted agent access whatsoever. This is where your proprietary HR data, unreleased financial projections, or core intellectual property is completely walled off. It's privacy by physical separation. You can sleep soundly knowing you are in absolute compliance with strict data protection laws.
Section 5. Scaling and Quick Start.
So, released under a highly permissive MIT license, this entire system relies on just 4 rock-solid deterministic commands. First, ingest. This is where the agent reads a news source completely and updates those durable pages. Second, query. This gets you answers straight from the compiled vault, complete with exact file citations so you can actually verify the truth. Third is lint. Think of this as your structural inspector. It checks for orphaned links and trust drift without making any sneaky, silent auto-fixes behind your back. And finally, digest, which rolls all the recent changes into a clean executive summary. It gives you total control, organized perfectly.
The beauty of this is how gracefully it scales as your organizational context grows. The philosophy here is simple. Scale only when the constraint appears. You start with the basic, self-contained local folder and markdown files. Boom, instantly useful. Then, maybe you add Git for version control. Later, you throw in Obsidian for visual knowledge management. If you eventually hit thousands of documents, you easily add local search. And finally, from massive enterprise-scale data, you move it all to a Postgres database with structured role-based access control. The foundation never breaks, guys. It just seamlessly scales up.
And because there's absolutely no middleware or vector database to configure, deploying this thing is incredibly fast. Any principal engineer can have this entire ecosystem running locally in under 5 minutes. Literally 3 steps. Step 1. Use a repository as a template and clone it. Step 2. Make the vault yours by copying in your specific context files. Step 3. Run the local agent to start compiling your files. That is it. You are instantly building a durable, compounding AI asset.
Section 6. The Architect and Deployment.
So who's the brain behind this military-grade countermeasure? This repository was engineered by Elias Coulouris. He's an elite open-source developer advocate, a viral technical copywriter, a seasoned filmmaker, and an absolute expert when it comes to AI knowledge management systems. Elias specifically designed this to smash the exact bottlenecks that are choking modern organizations. As he perfectly puts it, most AI tools remember a conversation. This system builds an asset. He has essentially synthesized the absolute best of Andrej Karpathy's patterns and Google's open knowledge format into one single, deployable vault.
The intelligence here couldn't be clearer. You have to stop renting your company's memory. Head over to github.com/eliaskaloris/Agentic Knowledge Vault. Clone the Agentic Knowledge Vault and take permanent control of your AI infrastructure today. It costs literally nothing to run, it secures your data completely, and it compounds in value every single day you use it. So here's the final question you really need to ask yourself right now. Are you going to keep paying your AI to forget, or are you finally ready to build a corporate memory that lasts forever?